And at the same time in Grand Rapids, Representative Justin Amash held a packed town hall meeting discussing the hot button issues in D.C.
The congressman talked about more than just the immigration order at City High Middle School tonight. 24-hour News 8's Lindsay McComal was inside where tensions ran high over some of the congressman's views on policies.
So, I'm Congressman Amash.
I think it was very brave of him to come here.
We have a Secretary of Education, and I do not want that eliminated. I do not want that.
I understand that. So you also want me to follow the Constitution, right?
Representative Justin Amash preached bipartisanship at his town hall, but many in the audience showed they don't agree with his stances on issues like the Affordable Care Act. Amash supports repeal and replace.
We need to find ways to handle this issue, not at the federal level, not through that.
The congressman was applauded at times, too.
State replaces it.
For statements like President Trump's executive order needing to be reworked in order to be constitutional, and that there's too much bureaucracy in D.C. But he was questioned on donors' influence on his decision-making, specifically the DeVos family, who has donated thousands to the congressman over the years.
The DeVosses have got a platform and they have an agenda, and you're following it when you say, no, I'm not going to support that. No, I'm not going to go this way. Is it because that's what they're paying you for? Yeah.
How much particular people contribute to you over years.
Many people waiting to see the congressman speak couldn't even get in.
But you cannot do it this mandate.
Those who did had a lot to say about the outbursts that were happening inside.
Just an awful lot of yelling, standing up, cheering, and there's no questions. There's not enough questions being asked. So I think they need to tone it down in the audience a little bit so that more people can ask questions.
He took some pretty brave positions. I was pleased to see that he was displeased with some of the things that were going on with candidate selection in Washington, and that I think he's just as taken aback as the rest of us.
That was a good, honest back and forth. Even Amash said that you need to meet with the constituents, and these things are helpful. But that crowd was huge.
It was. So that capacity in that auditorium is 595, and his office did say tonight after that because there was so much interest, and they appreciate that there was so much interest, they will be trying to plan another town hall so that they can try to get everyone in. They also recommended reaching out directly to the office in order to. He is. Yeah. He's very responsive in doing his best to do that. Yeah.
And you had a chance to talk with him one-on-one even before the town hall started.
I did, yes. We went over a lot of topics. The biggest, though, being the new legislation that he's co-sponsoring to get rid of the Department of Education. Now, there are a lot of things still to be discussed for that, but as people pointed out in that town hall, the DeVos family has supported him in the past, so many are still questioning that sponsorship, and here's what he had to say about it.
That doesn't mean hurting public schools, it means helping public schools. Here in Michigan, we have a Department of Education. This is the state's responsibility under our federal Constitution. It's not the federal government's responsibility. And what happens when you have tax dollars sent to the federal government is that they get mixed up in the bureaucracy, and then strings are attached and they're sent back at pennies on the dollar. So you end up with actually less funding for public schools by having a U.S. Department of Education.
Now, have you spoken at all to our new Secretary of Education regarding your new backing of this legislation?
I haven't talked to her about this, and in fact, I had co-sponsored it long before she was confirmed as Secretary of Education. So the sponsor of the bill happened to drop it on the same day that she was confirmed, but it's a position I've long held, and it's the right position. It's a constitutional position, and it's also better for our public schools. I think this legislation's a long shot. I don't think that it's likely to move, but it's important that we stake out a principled position, that we say what we're about, and that we identify the problems with our education system.
Now, Amash also said that he doesn't know if DeVos thinks that the bill is a good idea. Again, he has not spoken to her, but he does think that she agrees that more control should be given back to the local levels. Now, that was just one part of the interview. We do have more of the interview up on our website right now for those interested. He speaks a little bit about President Trump's use of Twitter, so that can be found on WhatTV.com.
Okay, we'll check it out there. Thank you, Lindsay.